This video is for practice 9B. In this exercise, we're going to learn how to create a shaft opening and a sloped floor. So a shaft opening we did in one of our previous exercises when we place stairs in a building, because remember that when we place the stairs, they don't automatically place a shaft, and sometimes there's a floor in the way and you could bump your head. So we have to be able to tell Revit that we need a shaft opening. Sloped floors are something that we would use in, say, a janitor's closet or a bathroom or a garage in order to get water out of the, well, either into a drain or out of the garage, okay? So let's start first by opening the Modern Hotel Shaft Revit file. Then we're going to open floor 1 and we're going to zoom into the elevator area. So the elevator is actually right here. You can see this is the elevator. We're going to temporarily hide the elevator just so that we can make a shaft. So we're going to click on it, right click, we're going to say hide in view element. So now that the elevator is hidden, we can see the elevator area a little bit more clearly. In the architecture tab, we are going to click on opening and then we're going to click shaft. Now in the modify create shaft opening sketch, we want to select the boundary line. So boundary line, and then we're going to use the pick lines tool within the boundary line. So boundary line and then pick lines. We're going to draw a boundary on the inside of the shaft. So I'm going to come over here and draw that boundary on the inside of the shaft. Then I'll click modify. We want to make sure that that boundary line is closed, and it is. So now, after we draw that boundary line, we're going to use a symbolic line, and we're going to draw an X. So the X, when you see, actually that boundary line isn't closed. I just saw it's open.
Yep.
Let's do that first. Alright, so now the symbolic line. When you draw an X in any space that's a shaft, or double height space, it indicates that there's an opening above or an opening below. And sometimes it will be labeled even with text, opening above or opening below. So this X is indicating that. That's why it's a symbolic line. So that symbol indicates that to us. In the properties, we want to verify that the base constraint is set to floor 1 and the base offset is going to be at -1 foot. In the properties, we're going to set the top constraint up to level roof. And then once we're done with that, we're going to click the Finish Edit mode. So it doesn't really look like anything happened, but it did, and we'll look at that in just a minute. We're going to reset our temporary hide isolate, and actually I'm just going to turn this back on, and I'm going to unhide the elevator. Okay. Now we're going to open the floor 2 view. So in the floor 2 view, we're going to, in the view control bar, we're going to change the visual style to consistent colors. So you can see that when you change it to consistent colors. Actually, I'm going to hide the elevator again because that's a little hard to read. I'm going to hide the element. But when I change it to consistent colors, you can see that it's not gray and it's white, and that white is starting to indicate that there's a shaft there. I'm going to change it back to hidden lines. And then we're going to open a 3D view, and we're going to tip this a little bit, and you can see that there's the elevator, and the shaft goes all the way down from bottom floor all the way up to the roof, and that's open, and there's no floor or anything through there. So you want to try to rotate this around so you can get a good view for your screen capture, and then open a couple other the floor plan views just so that you can see that that shaft is indicated with the symbolic line. And we're going to return to floor 1. And I'm going to close all my other hidden windows right here, and then I'm going to go on to task 2. So now in task 2, we're going to add slope floors for drainage. So we're going to come over here to the bathrooms and to the janitor's closet. We're going to select one of the elevation markers and hide the category. So actually my elevations aren't even on, just my callout is, so I am going to hide this category. Oh, here we go. Now I'm going to hide them. I wondered what it, okay. So now we need to select the floor. So it's difficult to select the floor in a view like this. And actually I want to make sure I can see the entire janitor's closet, so I'm just going to stretch this out. So in order to select the floor a little bit easier, there's a button down here that says select elements by face. If you click on it, it will allow us to select that floor that's inside of here. So it's still not quite getting it. I'm going to see why. There it is. Oh. Okay. Still not quite giving me what I want here. I'm not sure why. I'm going to go to floor 1 and just see if I can select the floor by face. Usually that works. Okay, if you have this trouble like I'm having, because usually that does work, the other thing that you can do is get near a door opening, and if you cycle through the tab key, it usually allows you to select that floor. I'm still having a trouble with it, so this is my other option, is I am going to go into 3D. I'm actually going to select the floor from in here, and it should stay selected. So this is the floor. So now if I go to floor 1 restroom, yeah, it's selected. Alright, so there was a lot to go through, but sometimes it's a little tricky to grab that floor. If you could grab it with the select face, good for you. If not, you can do the 3D view. Alright, so now we're going to go to the Modify tab, and we're going to click Add Split Line. And we're going to draw the lines that are shown in the figure. So the lines actually surround the inside of the bathrooms. And you can see the little dots that are connected. So there's one here, there's one here, here, and here. And we're going to try to line those up. And then we're going to close them because it's not a chain command, I just noticed. So there we go. So we have one. I'm going to select chain actually to make it a little easier. Then I can just keep clicking around the room. Okay. And then I'm going to, the only thing about the chain command is you have to hit escape to start it again. Okay. Alright, so I had all 3 of those created, and unfortunately if you didn't take a screen capture quickly enough, they go away like they just did for me, and you can't get them back to know if you did it. So try to go slower, and if you need to hit undo and do it over again, do that. So now in the shape editing panel, we have to select the floor again. Gotta go back to the 3D view. I have the floor selected. Now I'm going to add a point. Okay, so now I can see them again. There they are. In the options bar, I'm going to set the elevation to -1/2 inch. So right here, we're going to do 1/2 inch, and we're going to do -0 feet 1/2 inch. And we're going to place the point in the center of each room. So we'll see if we can. I don't like that it's not telling me where the center is, so before you do this, I'm going to say take a model line and draw just so we can find the centers of each room. Because we should be accurate, we shouldn't be guesstimating. So we're going to do that. Now let's go back to selecting the floor, back to the restroom, and add point. Make sure we still have it at -1/2 inch. And now we can select right on that center line that we created before. Okay, so now you see that it actually placed slope, and it put that at -1/2 inch. I'm going to delete those model lines just so they don't get in the way of my drawing. And then I'm going to open the 3D view of the project. And it's hard to tell, so actually what I'm going to do is let's see if we can create a camera view in here. It's not really much you can see of the sloped floor, I suppose. Not very exciting, so we'll go back to the 3D view. Well, and then we're going to end. That's the end of that exercise. So again, that sloped floor is just allowing for a drain or for water to drain on there.